Most Nissan Frontier buyers believe any generation is fine as long as the mileage looks reasonable. That belief has drained thousands of dollars out of owners who never saw it coming. One of the most common Frontier engines has already been tied to a federal class action lawsuit over a defect that can't be seen, smelled, or heard until the transmission is already destroyed. Ask most owners one simple question: was the radiator ever replaced before you bought this truck? And the answer is almost always no. 3 Nissan Frontier engines were put through a full investigation for this video. The 4-liter VQ40DE V6, the 2.5-liter QR25DE inline-4, and the 3.8-liter VQ38DD V6, to settle once and for all which one is actually worth your money. Here's one fact worth knowing before diving in. One of these 3 engines has already crossed 1 million miles on its original block, and it isn't the one most buyers would guess. Every engine in this investigation gets judged against the same 4 checkpoints: cost to fix, real-world capability, resale value, and one hidden flaw that doesn't show up on a test drive. Same criteria every time, no exceptions. Let's start with the engine that carries the biggest reputation and the biggest risk: the 4-liter VQ40DE V6. For anyone shopping a second-generation Frontier, the VQ40DE is the engine everyone points to. All aluminum construction, 261 to 265 horsepower at 5,600 revolutions per minute, 281 to 284 pound-feet of torque at 4,000 revolutions per minute, and a 6,500-pound max tow rating that outclasses everything else in this lineup. Payload tops out around 1,400 to 1,610 pounds. On paper, it's the obvious pick. On a 2005 through 2010 truck, it's also the reason this engine earned a nickname in the truck community that nobody wants attached to their transmission: the strawberry milkshake of death. Before we get into the mechanism that causes this, if you want a more in-depth look into how your pickup truck can last 200,000, 300,000, or even 500,000 miles, this ebook reveals the exact maintenance secrets and brand-specific strategies that every smart pickup truck owner should know. If you want to check it out, the link is down in the description below. Here's the mechanism. Nissan built an integrated calsonic radiator with the automatic transmission's oil cooler line running directly through the same lower tank as the engine coolant. Thermal cycling over years of driving cracks the internal barrier separating the two systems. Once that barrier fails, pressurized coolant floods into the transmission fluid loop, and the two mix into a pink sludge that strips the friction material right off the clutch packs. Early signs are a highway speed vibration that feels like rumble strips, gear slippage, and diagnostic code P1757. Left alone, the transmission locks up completely. This wasn't a rumor. It became a federal class action in Nissan radiator/transmission cooler litigation. Nissan agreed to extend the radiator warranty to 10 years or 100,000 miles, but buried tiered deductibles of $2,500 to $3,000 for trucks past 80,000 miles. Since SMOD usually shows up after 90,000 miles, a lot of buyers got nothing. Out-of-pocket repair bills for a full transmission and radiator replacement run $4,000 to over $5,800. That's not the only problem hiding on early trucks. Nissan used a stamped metal secondary timing chain that cuts directly into the plastic tensioner shoes. As those shoes wear down, the chain rides on bare metal and produces a high-pitched whine or buzzsaw noise under acceleration. Ignore it, and the chain can skip teeth in this interference engine, sending valves straight into pistons. Fixing it means dismantling the front engine cover, power steering pump, and cooling system to install updated stamped chains and composite shoes. Independent shops charge $1,552 to $2,024 for the fix. Dealers routinely quote over $2,350, especially when it's done alongside a water pump. Beyond those two headline failures, there are smaller issues worth pricing in. Thermal cycling cracks the cast iron exhaust manifolds near the collector welds, since the primary catalytic converters are built into them. A cracked manifold lets cold air into the exhaust stream on deceleration, tricking the oxygen sensors into reading lean and forcing the engine to run rich. Disintegrating catalytic converter material can also get pulled back into the combustion chamber through valve overlap, scoring cylinder walls and accelerating oil consumption. And around 120,000 miles, valve cover gaskets and spark plug tube seals start leaking oil into the spark plug wells, which shows up as random ignition misfires. 2 catastrophic failure points, several smaller ones stacked on top, 1 5-year window. If you're looking at a 2005 through 2010 Frontier V6 automatic and nobody can produce proof the radiator was replaced, walk away. Here's a detail most owners never learn, and it's worth knowing even if you already own one. The entire SMOD risk can be eliminated without touching the transmission at all. Disconnect the factory cooler lines from the radiator's lower tank and reroute them through a standalone auxiliary transmission cooler. A $15 fitting or a $150 aftermarket cooler physically separates the 2 fluid systems for good. 30 minutes of labor solves a problem that otherwise costs thousands. It's also worth understanding why this engine still has defenders. The VQ40DE makes 80% of its peak torque below 2,000 RPM, which makes it genuinely excellent for off-roading, hauling, and low-speed trail work. The trade-off is real-world fuel economy that drops to 14 to 15 miles per gallon city and around 18 to 20 on the highway, and a 5-year ownership cost estimate landing between $47,500 and $55,000. Once depreciation, fuel, and maintenance are factored in, the owner community is genuinely split on this engine. Half see 2005 through 2010 trucks as financial landmines. The other half point out that post-2011 trucks, with the corrected radiator and updated timing chains, routinely cross 250,000 to 350,000 miles on their original internals. But the story on this engine doesn't end in 2010, and it's worth holding on to that, because the answer to which Frontier is actually worth your money runs straight through what Nissan did next. If this kind of investigation is useful, take a second and subscribe, because the comparison only gets more interesting from here. Next, the engine most buyers dismiss without a second look, the 2.5-liter QR38DE inline-four. The base 4-cylinder in the second-generation Frontier was rated at 152 to 154 horsepower and 171 to 173 pound-feet of torque, built to balance fuel efficiency with everyday utility. In earlier passenger cars like the Altima and Sentra, this engine gained a bad reputation for 2 design flaws: butterfly screws in the intake manifold backing out into the cylinders, and pre-catalytic converters breaking down into abrasive dust that got sucked back into the engine. But when Nissan adapted this 4-cylinder for the second-generation Frontier in 2005, they redesigned it specifically for truck duty. They eliminated the butterfly screws entirely with a fixed geometry intake manifold and relocated the exhaust catalyst downstream. What's left in the Frontier is a genuinely simple engine from day one. Cast iron cylinder liners inside an aluminum block, heavy exterior crankcase ribbing, cast steel connecting rods, a fixed geometry intake manifold with no moving butterfly valves left to fail, and a relocated exhaust manifold that keeps heat away from the catalyst. All of it runs through a conventional timing chain system with dual overhead camshafts and simple multi-point port injection. And none of it carries the SMOD exposure that haunts the V6. Because these trucks were built almost exclusively with manual transmissions or a basic 5-speed automatic that never touches the radiator the same way. And this is where the million-mile truck comes in. A 2007 Frontier, 2.5-liter, 5-speed manual, King Cab, driven by a Chicago area delivery driver named Brian Murphy, crossed 1 million miles on its original engine and transmission after 13 years and roughly 77,000 miles a year. The clutch lasted 801,000 miles. The factory alternator and radiator made it 450,000 miles. The timing chain wasn't replaced because it failed. It was swapped at 700,000 miles, purely as prevention. When the truck hit 7 digits on January 27, 2020, the digital odometer actually broke. because Nissan's engineers never programmed the display to read past 999,999 miles, forcing Murphy to track the real number on the trip odometer instead. That's not a fluke. That's what happens when a mechanically simple engine gets real maintenance. No direct injection, no turbochargers, no variable valve timing complexity, no SMOD exposure. Just 10,000-mile fluid changes and basic spark plug replacements. The trade-off is obvious. In a truck approaching 4,000 pounds curb weight, 152 horsepower means 0 to 60 takes over 10.5 seconds, and merging onto steep grades while loaded genuinely strains the engine. Towing tops out at 3,500 pounds, close to half of what the V6 offers, and payload sits around 1,280 to 1,430 pounds. Real-world fuel economy averages 21 to 22 miles per gallon combined, only a modest gain over the V6's 17 to 18, which is exactly why critics argue the horsepower and towing sacrifice isn't worth it. But the 5-year ownership cost tells a different story, landing between just $35,000 and $41,000, the lowest of all three engines by a wide margin, and used prices run $4,000 to $12,000. For a work truck or heavy hauler, this engine is disqualifying. For a commuter who wants the lowest possible cost of ownership and the least amount of things that can go wrong, this is close to the ceiling of what's realistically achievable in this segment. 2 engines down. One had a documented lawsuit and a nickname involving a milkshake. The other had a truck that broke its own odometer. Now the newest engine in the lineup, and it has to prove itself with the least amount of track record. The 3.8-liter VQ38DD V6, introduced in 2020. To meet tightening federal CAFE fuel economy standards without giving up towing capacity, Nissan built this engine from a clean sheet. Despite carrying the VQ badge, it shares less than 7% of its structural components with the outgoing 4-liter. Over 93% of the engine, the aluminum block casing, the high-pressure fuel delivery system, the variable displacement oil pump, the variable valve timing, was designed completely from scratch. Rather than wait for the redesigned 3rd-generation body, Nissan dropped this engine and its companion 9-speed automatic straight into the 15-year-old 2nd-generation body shell for the 2020 and 2021 model years, creating a 2-year transitional truck with a modern powertrain underneath a late 2000s exterior. The result is 310 horsepower at 6,400 revolutions per minute, 281 pound-feet of torque, and a 7,150-pound max tow rating, the highest of the 3 engines in this investigation, along with a class-leading payload of 1,610 pounds, paired with the Jacko JR 913E 9-speed automatic. Here's the mechanism worth flagging. This engine runs high-pressure gasoline direct injection at over 2,100 pounds per square inch, spraying fuel straight into the combustion chamber at an 11:1 compression ratio instead of over the intake valves. That boosts output and efficiency, but it also means there's no fuel washing carbon deposits off the backs of the intake valves, the way port injection does on the older 2 engines. Over 80,000 to 100,000 miles. Carbonized oil deposits build up on those valve stems, restrict airflow, and cause rough idling and misfires. The fix is periodic walnut shell blasting of the intake ports, a maintenance cost the VQ40DE and QR25DE simply never require. There's also a documented mechanical issue tied to the new transmission. On certain 2020 through 2022 trucks, manufacturing variations in the transmission housing prevented the mechanical parking pal from fully engaging the parking gear, allowing parked vehicles to roll away unexpectedly. That triggered an official NHTSA safety recall, and dealers corrected it by inspecting and replacing the transmission park module or valve body assembly. Early 2020 and 2021 calibration software also produced gear hunting on moderate highway inclines, as the ECU struggled to manage 9 discrete gear ratios, which Nissan later smoothed out with a software update. On the performance side, this engine is genuinely quick, hitting 0 to 60 in under 6.5 seconds, nearly 2 seconds faster than the VQ40DE and 4 seconds faster than the QR25DE, with highway fuel economy approaching 24 miles per gallon under steady cruising. Here's where this one needs an honest flag instead of a clean answer. This engine has only been on the road since 2020. There isn't a fleet of 300,000-mile examples yet to confirm how it holds up long-term the way there is for the other two. And with fewer high-mileage trucks on the road, its ability to reliably cross 250,000 miles without major service remains unproven. That's not a strike against it. It's a gap in the data that a buyer should know about before paying a premium for it. And that premium is real. Used prices run $22,500 for a transitional 2021 model, up to $36,000, plus for 2023 through 2025 trucks, more than double what a clean VQ40DE typically costs, with a 5-year ownership cost estimate around $47,562, driven up by the higher purchase price, even with better fuel economy offsetting some of it. Line all three up the way they were checked. The VQ40DE early years carry a documented lawsuit and a $4,000 to $5,800 transmission risk plus secondary exhaust manifold and gasket wear. But Nissan fixed the core defects before 2011, and the corrected version delivers 261 horsepower, 6,500 pounds of towing, and port injection simplicity for $11,000 to $16,000 used, with a 5-year ownership cost of $47,500 to $55,000. The QR25DE completely avoids the SMOD risk and timing chain nightmares of the early V6s, is proven past 1 million miles across any second-gen model year, costs the least to own at $35,000 to $41,000 over 5 years, and gives up real power and towing capacity to get there. The VQ38DD delivers the most horsepower and the highest tow rating of the three at 7,150 pounds, but it costs the most to buy, requires carbon service the other two don't, carries a 5-year ownership cost near $47,562, and doesn't have the mileage history yet to back up a long-term bet. So here's the answer. If towing and payload matter and the truck stays in daily use for years, the 2012 through 2019 VQ40DE is the strongest overall value in this lineup, correcting its early flaws while staying at roughly half the price of the newer V6 and covering 90% of a new truck's practical utility. If the priority is the lowest possible cost of ownership and towing isn't a factor, any 2005 through 2019 4-cylinder QR25DE is genuinely hard to beat. And if modern performance and the highest towing number matter more than a proven track record, the VQ38DD earns its price, but only for a buyer willing to pay for unproven mileage. Two Frontiers can sit on the same lot, same price, same mileage, and be completely different investments depending on what's under the hood. Know the engine before a single dollar changes hands. If this investigation helped you shop smarter, subscribe, and I will see you in the next one.